Some huge news for Sixers fans here on today's show. First, we finally got a positive update from Nick Nurse on Joel Embiid. Plus, the Sixers' full 2025-2026 schedule has been revealed. I'll go through some of the key matchups and the major takeaways from that schedule. Before we get into all that, do not miss out with the schedule being released. Man, the NBA season really just around the corner. So be sure, subscribe, turn on your notifications. That way you can stay updated on everything going on with your Philadelphia 76ers all season long. We know this team, always a lot of drama surrounding Philadelphia. We cover it all here on the show. 23,625 subscribers, trying to get to 24K. So again, don't miss out. Hit that sub button. So, Nick Nurse delivering an update on Joel Embiid today, saying that things are looking good with his recovery from that knee surgery he had back in April. Daryl Morey said he should be ready by training camp. Nick Nurse, a little more pessimistic on that front, but still a positive update. Here's what Nurse had to say. All the news is positive. I know he's working very, very hard, and I think things look good. Whether he's ready for training camp or not, I think there's maybe a lot more decisions than that to make before we get there. But our main thing is that he's healthy to play and play to his nearest capabilities. Look, I know a lot of you are going to say it's just Nick Nurse coach speak. Of course, he's going to say he's doing well. I'm just glad we got this as opposed to what usually we get around this time, which is Joel Embiid, another setback. He'll be out another X amount of weeks, right? At least we're hearing something on the positive. And this is one of the most positive Embiid updates we've honestly had in a very, very long time. Now, they talked a little bit about training camp. Nick Nurse did in his quote say, I don't know if we're going to be ready around then. Look, I doubt he'll be ready for the start of training camp, especially with Sixers training camp starting even earlier this year because they're playing the Knicks in Abu Dhabi. So everything gets pushed up a little bit. Doubt he's ready. There's no reason to push him to be ready for the start of training camp anyways. Just make sure he's at least as close to 100% as he possibly can be. No need to rush him. And this is why I hope the Sixers kind of stay true to their word and true to what Nick Nurse had to say at the end of his message there, that they want Embiid to be as close to his maximum capabilities as he possibly could be before he gets out there on the floor, because we've heard Morey say that before, that they want to wait for Embiid, make sure he is 100% before he's back out there, and they rush him out there because they're trying to win games, trying to save their jobs. He's not 100%. Just stick to what is best for Embiid. And Embiid even said it earlier this summer, like, yeah, there's really no timetable. I'm going to wait until I'm 100% ready to go. So let's just hope the Sixers do not try to rush him out there before he's ready. But it's good to hear that he's doing well, progressing good, and hopefully we get some more updates here in the near future. But be honest with me, because I know a lot of you are going to say, man, this update doesn't really mean much to me. Personally, I am happy to hear a positive update on Joel Embiid. But does this update make you feel any better regarding Embiid? Give me a yes or no down in the comments, and feel free to explain why as well. Now, coming up next, going to break down this 76ers schedule. A lot of interesting notes, primetime games to get to, some interesting things with this schedule that we will break down in just a second. But before we do, a new item has appeared over on Fanatics, a brand new VJ Edgecomb t-shirt that is actually what they call a special event item, meaning that it is very, very limited in stock, very, very limited numbers, and once it's gone, you won't be able to get it anywhere else. It is an exclusive item here to Fanatics, and come on, man, it looks clean. Obviously, VJ front and center with his name in the back. I'll be picking myself up one of these, you better believe it, but they're going to go fast, and again, because it's a special event item, once they're gone, they're gone. So go to chatsports.com/VJ shirt. Again, chatsports.com/VJ shirt. That'll be in the comments and description of today's show. And go ahead, get the shirt of the future franchise player before it is too late. All right, let's get right into it, man. So I'm not going to go through the entire 82-game schedule, right? There's no reason to break it down game by game. We know you're going to play every team in the NBA, right? There's nothing super special from that regard for the entire schedule, but I do want to break down some of the more notable games and notable trends in this schedule. Starting with the Sixers season opener the past couple of years, it's been Milwaukee on national TV. This one, will be against the Boston Celtics away at the TD Garden in Boston, Wednesday, October 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Of course, Boston coming off a good year, Sixers coming off a down year, but no Jason Tatum for Boston. So we'll get that first look at what this Celtics team looks like with Jaylen Brown as the one, with no Tatum, but also no Porzingis, no Drew Holiday. Of course, bringing in some new players like an Anthony Simons as well. So get that rivalry kicked off early. I love it. Going up against Boston from the rip. Now, the Sixers, 14 national TV games this year, less than they would normally have. This puts them pretty firmly outside the top 10 in terms of most national TV games. Makes sense because of what happened with the Sixers last year and the injuries, and they were in a bunch of national TV games that weren't very good games because Embiid and Paul George were missing time. So I understand why that number has come down a little bit. This year, those 14 games, I mean, you look at some of the top teams, Thunder, Warriors, Lakers, Knicks, all have 34 national TV games. So you can kind of put that into perspective there, followed by Minnesota. Houston, of course, Kevin Durant heading over there. Denver, Nikola Jokic, always a big draw. Celtics still have 25, even with no Jason Tatum. The Cavs and the Mavericks round out your top 10. Sixers with 14, about middle of the pack. There are some teams like the Chicago Bulls who have like 3 national TV games. So at least it's a few more than that. Here are those nationally televised games, as I mentioned. And of course, this year, Amazon Prime and NBC back broadcasting NBA games. That should be exciting. Starting off with your first 2 national TV games against Boston. So that season opener actually is not nationally televised, but you do play them again on Halloween on Prime, then again on November 11th at 8 p.m. on NBC. So getting 3 games against Boston out before we even hit December. Then you got Orlando on the 25th of November, the Knicks on the 19th of December. That one on Prime. So a few big Eastern Conference games start off there. Then you go to Memphis on December 30th. That one on NBC. Denver, Nikola Jokic. This will be a big draw, of course. Embiid versus Jokic, always a big deal on January 5th. Then some more Eastern Conference matchups. The Cavs on January 14th. The Knicks on January 24th. And the Bucks on January 27th. The Lakers on February 5th. Sixers have fared pretty well against the Lakers in the Joel Embiid era. Seems every time they play the Lakers, that game's usually on national TV. That one on Prime. And then to round out their last 4 nationally televised games, the Knicks again. So 3 of the 4 games against New York are on national TV. This last of the group coming on February 11th. And then to round out the season in March, 3 final nationally televised games, the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. Last time Embiid played Victor Wembanyama, he dropped 70 on his head. March 12th against the Pistons, and then March 30th against the Miami Heat. For Embiid, though, gonna be a tough schedule for him. We know not playing back-to-back. Same with Paul George. NBA kind of screwed the Sixers on this one, man. 16 back-to-backs on this schedule for Philadelphia. That is tied for the most with a few other teams in the NBA. So no favors from the NBA for this aging, injury-prone roster here in Philadelphia. So 16 back-to-backs? That's 8 games he's guaranteed to miss during the season at least. So going to be tough. Or I guess 16 games he's guaranteed to miss because it's 16 back-to-backs. Either way, whatever the number is, getting screwed by the NBA. But it's not all bad. Tony Jones of The Athletic pointing this out regarding the Sixers' schedule. Philadelphia doesn't actually go on a road trip longer than 3 games until the new year, and they don't travel west until the new year, right before the new year. They play Oklahoma City Thunder, I believe the 28th of December. Schedule is really favorable for them on the front end. They need to take advantage. Remember, last season, the Sixers got off to a horrific start. Were never able to bounce back. It is very, very important. The Sixers start off hot this year, and the schedule as a whole, a little bit easier to start the year, a little bit more difficult to end the year. So they really need to start off strong this season if they want to bounce back from what was a disaster last year. Wanted to highlight all the matchups against some of the Sixers' biggest rivals. Of course, the Boston Celtics. We talked about some of these already, but 4 games against Boston. October 22nd, of course, to open the season, as I mentioned. Then Halloween, that game is in Philly. The 11th, that game is in Philly. Then you don't play them again until March 1st in Boston. So as I mentioned, getting a lot of those games out of the way early. Kind of the opposite here against the New York Knicks. Of course, the Gershon Yabusele revenge game coming on December 19th. That game on Prime, as I mentioned as well. 3 of these 4 games on national TV. Play them again twice in January. The 3rd, that'll be in New York. The 24th, that'll be in Philly. And then you play the Knicks for the last time on February 11th. That game in Philly, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Of course, Sixers always going on that West Coast road trip. This is what we talked about, how this is a little bit later in the year. So you want to be able to stack up some wins before you have to go on one of these tough West Coast road trips here in February. Clippers, Warriors, Lakers, Suns, Blazers. Going to be tough regardless of the level of the teams when you go out there. Have to be West for an extended period of time. So going to be a tough stretch there, no doubt, with that one primetime game against the Lakers. And then had to point out the defending champs as well. They get their respect. 2 games against OKC. First coming on December 28th. So this is actually the first time the Sixers do travel west all season long. On December 28th, they will go to Oklahoma City. And then March 23rd, they will host OKC in Philadelphia. So those are some of the big key takeaways from this Sixers schedule. If you want to see the entire thing, I did post a graphic of the schedule on my Twitter. You can follow me at Jake Chipper all on Twitter if you want to get a full breakdown of what the schedule is. Let me know, how many games do you think the Sixers win last season? It was, of course, not a good one for Philadelphia last year. They're hoping to bounce back, make a playoff run, grab maybe a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference this year. Their over-under on wins is about 41.5, I believe. I'm going to go over. I'm going to say they win 45 games this season, but you let me know how many games you think they will win down below. And again, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're only, August, September, October, 2 months out from the start of the NBA season, and about a month or so and change from the start of some preseason basketball. So it'll be here before you know it. Get ready for the start of the regular season by hitting that subscribe button. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time right here on 76ers Now.